In a 2019 global survey by National Geographic, travelers ranked Athens among the top 10 historical cities to visit before they die. But when asked why, most gave the same answer: because of the Acropolis. Why does a cluster of ancient ruins sitting atop a rocky hill still capture the imagination of millions across the world? The answer lies not just in the stone, but in the story. Let's journey into one of the most iconic landmarks of human history, the Acropolis of Athens, where gods were honored, democracy was born, and the past still whispers through the wind. The word Acropolis comes from the Greek words akron, meaning highest point, and polis, meaning city. Together, the high city. And while many Greek cities had an acropolis, Athens' Acropolis became the Acropolis. Towering nearly 500 feet above sea level, this rocky limestone plateau has been a sacred ground for over 3,000 years. But it wasn't always a marble masterpiece. Long before Pericles or Plato, the Acropolis was a Mycenaean fortress surrounded by cyclopean walls. Later, during the Archaic period, temples emerged here, dedicated to powerful deities like Athena and Poseidon. But in 480 BCE, everything changed. The invading Persian army destroyed the original structures, leaving the Acropolis in ruins. What followed, however, was not despair, but rebirth. Under the visionary leadership of Pericles, and with funds from the Delian League, Athens embarked on one of the most ambitious building projects in human history. It wasn't just about architecture, it was a statement of power, beauty, and philosophy. 4 major monuments rose on the hill, each a symbol of a new civilization rising from the ashes. 1. The Parthenon, Temple of the Virgin Goddess. The crown jewel of the Acropolis, the Parthenon. Completed in 438 BCE, this temple honors Athena Parthenos, the city's patron goddess. Its architects, Ichthyonos and Caryatids, didn't just build a temple, they built mathematical perfection. Every column leans slightly inward. The platform it rests on is curved. These subtle distortions correct optical illusions, making the structure appear flawlessly straight to the human eye. Inside once stood a massive gold and ivory statue of Athena, crafted by the legendary sculptor Phidias. Though lost to time, it once stood over 38 feet tall, radiating divine power. 2. The Erechtheion, where gods disputed. To the north stands the Erechtheion, a temple unlike any other, built on uneven ground, marking sacred spots tied to ancient myths. According to legend, this is where Athena and Poseidon battled for the city's devotion. Poseidon struck the rock and created a saltwater spring. Athena, in turn, planted the first olive tree. The people chose her gift, and the city became Athens. But what truly mesmerizes here is the porch of the Caryatids. 6 graceful maidens, sculpted into stone, holding up the temple's roof with timeless poise. Copies stand today. The originals are preserved in the Acropolis Museum and the British Museum. 3. The Propylaea, gateway to the gods. Before reaching the Parthenon, visitors had to pass through the Propylaea, a monumental gateway that served as both a defense point and dramatic entrance. Imagine the awe as citizens and foreign envoys ascended the marble steps, greeted by colossal columns and guarded gates. It was the ancient equivalent of entering a modern-day palace or supreme court, sacred, political, and symbolic. 4. The Temple of Athena Nike, victory in miniature. Just beside the Propylaea sits the Temple of Athena Nike, dedicated to the goddess of victory. Though small, its significance was immense. Built around 427 BCE, it celebrated Athenian military triumphs, especially against the mighty Persians. Inside once stood a statue of Athena without wings, known as Nike Apteros, so victory could never fly away from Athens. Together, these monuments weren't just buildings, they were ideals, representing order, balance, democracy, and devotion. The Acropolis became a physical manifesto of what Athens stood for, a city led by thought, not just sword. But time would not spare even marble. In the centuries that followed, the Acropolis suffered occupations, explosions, looting, and neglect. In 1687, a Venetian cannonball hit the Parthenon, igniting gunpowder the Ottomans had stored inside, reducing much of it to rubble. Later, in the early 1800s, Lord Elgin removed many of the Parthenon sculptures, today displayed in the British Museum, igniting a centuries-long debate about cultural ownership. But Athens hasn't given up. Massive restoration efforts began in the 1970s and continue to this day, not to rebuild the Acropolis but to preserve its soul. And now, standing on that hill, surrounded by silent columns and ancient wind, one realizes something profound. The Acropolis isn't just a ruin, it's a reminder of what humans can build when guided by purpose, beauty, and reason. Empires fall, stones crumble, but some ideas endure. The Acropolis of Athens, not just the birthplace of democracy, but a timeless mirror reflecting the heights of human aspiration.